It has been a long time since a multiplayer FPS has hooked me like Marathon has, and after spending over 200 hours with it in such a short amount of time, I'm really hoping this game has a long life ahead of it. Because it's 2026 and the internet is more crazy than ever, let's make a few things clear out of the gate. Bungie didn't sponsor me to make this video, and Sony isn't in the cupboard behind me whispering in my ear what to say. If Bungie paid me to play Marathon, I'd just do more of that rather than share my opinion about it on the internet. No, I genuinely love this game and want more people who are on the fence about it to try it out. That's my job as a games critic, to tell you about the games I'm enjoying and why I think you might enjoy them too. It's weird that I feel like I have to justify myself in this way, but the online discourse around Marathon has been extremely weird to contend with. Almost every video I see on it is about its dwindling player counts. One person, who I won't even bother to name, has made over 60 videos about this topic alone. Those who are actually playing Marathon have a lot of good to say about it, and a lot of helpful criticism that Bungie is hopefully taking into consideration. With that out of the way, let me tell you why I've spent 200 hours with Marathon. Over the last decade or so, Battle Royale games have taken over the FPS genre, at least in the AAA space. Warzone, Apex Legends, Fortnite, PUBG, all of these games have had millions upon millions of players, and it's easy to understand why. Every match is a rush of adrenaline as you fight to be the last team alive. Landing on the map, rushing to find the best gear you can as you compete with other players around you, and then pushing to take strategically advantageous positions around the map as it condenses as a loop that really doesn't get old. The risk and reward of every move you make in a Battle Royale title is what keeps people coming back. That said, I fell out of love with the Battle Royale genre as I have with other traditional shooter experiences like Call of Duty or even Battlefield because of the lack of reward I feel for playing. There's often very little to work towards, and if you're a fan of character customization, so many of these games have locked their best rewards behind paywalls. But I've been playing these games for a long time now, earning XP to level up and unlock weapons, attachments, badges, or banners, and it just doesn't do it for me anymore. If you played and won a few matches, you've kind of seen it all at this point. Sometimes it's fun to just turn your brain off and run a few rounds of deathmatch, but these days, I'm often looking for something with an objective to work towards. Arc Raiders was close to providing that experience for me. It was the first extraction shooter that I really gelled with aside from Sulphur, which is a single-player extraction game for those curious about the genre, by the way. The extraction loop provides a lot of the same elements as a Battle Royale, with the key difference being that you keep the gear you find and lose the gear you leave behind if you don't make it out alive. A lot of discussion online is focused on how people don't like the extraction genre because the penalty for losing is so high. But that's what I've come to love about Marathon and why I can't put it down. It comes back to the point I made about needing a reason to play outside of just a normal XP or unlock grind that so many games rely on. You essentially choose your own objective. Complete a contract, search for salvage, or take down other players to build out your vault. If you want to earn the best loot in the game, you typically have to be willing to risk it all to get it. That takes some getting used to, as it's fun looking at your loot vault full of purple and gold gear, but with a wipe coming at the end of each season, it pushes you not to hoard it and actively use it. Marathon has taught me to get over the fear of losing my best loot as it creates that drive to get back in and earn it back. And trust me, losing a piece of gold gear you worked really hard to get is painful. Oh, so painful. The game will always be niche because of this very thing, since it can often feel debilitating to constantly be playing catch-up. But this is where Marathon really excels with its faction quest design, as there's always something to be doing to earn new gear, credits, and barter upgrades. Those barter upgrades reward you with free gear every day, and as you enhance them through completing contracts, the gear you get for free continually improves. This ensures that you're never out of the fight completely, and Bungie is also constantly experimenting with new modifiers like free sponsored kit only mode. It puts everyone on the same playing field to help ease in new players. I think there's more they can do to bring in new players and improve onboarding, but we'll touch on that more later. For me, the motivation to keep coming back to Marathon is entirely governed by how every match is driven by the risk and reward loop. Obviously, you're going to have a lot of low points when you lose a lot of valuable items, but then the matches where you make it out with a new set of great gear to throw in your vault feel even more earned. Due to the game's unpredictability, every match is a pure adrenaline rush that I have never experienced at this level in any other FPS I've played. You can be in the middle of an intense fight only to have UESC reinforcements drop in unexpectedly and change the entire dynamic. Weather in the game genuinely impacts how you engage in fights, with dense fog limiting visibility, rainstorms that mask sound, and the Outpost map's heat cascade event caused by cannons that were trying to see clouds for rain, which forces you to run for cover periodically if you're fighting outside. Marathon rewards smart play over just running into every gunfight. A group of players with free kits can successfully take down even the best kitted players with well-strategized ability use and map placement. And let me tell you, taking out a group of purple shields as a group of free kits is an exhilarating experience every time if you can pull it off. Opening a player's bag to a treasure trove of gear is something I will never tire of. Compared to many of the Battle Royale games I've played, which are so dependent on twitch shooting and fast reflexes, Marathon asks for a lot more strategy out of its players, which is enhanced by both its excellent maps and sound design. The sound design of the game is incredible. The weapons people are using, which shell they're operating with, the different UESC units, and each type of terrain all have distinct audio cues. You even have to go in prepared just to unlock vault doors because they require keys that play a sound cue that can be heard around the map, which will then have other players rushing over to take your rewards. The first two maps, Perimeter and Dire Marsh, are more straightforward in terms of design, but when you get to Outposts, which prepares you for the puzzle of a map that is Cryo Archive, you really come to appreciate just how masterfully put together everything is. I've often talked about Rainbow Six Siege and the importance of learning the layouts and cues of each map to go from being a good player to an expert, and Marathon is no different. Oh, except that the sound doesn't seem to break like Siege's does all the time. You're probably listening to all this and lamenting how stressful it sounds, but I'm telling you, straight up, that the design of this game is really on another level when compared to its peers. Marathon rewards paying attention, carefully taking on engagements, and knowing the maps and their routes to escape with your rewards. This is especially true if you're playing one of the shells in the game called Rook. You can only play the shell as a solo player, and it basically turns the entire game into an immersive sim stealth experience as you skulk around the map, scavenging for loot and trying to avoid engagements with kitted out teams. It's legitimately probably the closest thing you can get to a new Thief game, if you ask me. Singling out a player, taking them out, and escaping with their loot as their teammates try to hunt you down is downright pants-shitting terrifying if you stole something really valuable off of them. The game is full of memorable moments like this in almost every match, no matter how you decide to play. Moments like experiencing Cryo Archive for the first time and making the frantic run to the extraction point with incredibly valuable gear only to lose your teammates who know the routes better, spiraling into a panic as you watch the countdown timer run out, and then all of a sudden your teammates come back, grab your hand, and lead you to salvation. Or in my case, having to drop and leave all my gold gear behind to take cover during a tornado warning as I was running towards the extraction point. Thank you, Midwest. That's how you know when you're enjoying a video game. In a potential life or death situation, trying to decide whether or not riding out a tornado is worth that golden weapon you found. Yes, it was a harder decision to make than I'd like to admit. Marathon isn't an experience for everyone, let me be clear about that. If you're looking for a game to just have fun with your friends and turn your brain off for a bit, this isn't it. It's a game that's always intense, with a lot of emotion. But if you're into competitive shooters like I am and want an experience that rewards you at every turn, I can think of no better game for that right now. Bungie is unfortunately having a hard time convincing new players to try it, and the criticism around its big barrier to entry are valid. I do think that Marathon needs a PvE only mode with tough cooperative missions that reward varying levels of gear, based on difficulty to help bring new players in. The combat experience alone would also be well served by having some more basic game modes like Team Deathmatch or even more simplified objective-based modes on the maps already available so players can learn how to best use the different shells and their abilities. Right now, the only way to learn is to do the extraction mode, and I can totally understand how frustrating it can be if you're just learning to play and losing everything you earn to more experienced players right out of the gate. Those types of experiences are something Bungie already excels at with their other work on the Destiny series and Halo, and if they want to bring more players into the fray, they need to open up the ways people can earn gear and complete faction quests without always having to engage in the PvP fights, which can be prohibitive even for seasoned players like myself. Some of the quests on Outpost are extremely hard to complete without a fully communicative squad, or just hunkering around the map, waiting for it to clear out before attempting the objective, which isn't in line with the game's overall design. In my opinion, Bungie should make the extraction experience the game mode to work towards for new players, rather than throwing them headfirst into the deep end. I truly think once people get a feel for the mechanics of the game, the map design, and the loot grind, they typically come around to really loving what's on offer here. Whether or not Bungie will make any of those revisions obviously remains to be seen, as it's not part of their current roadmap to introduce any radical changes like that. But their communication so far has been excellent, as have their frequent updates to introduce experimental modes, fixes, and balance changes. Marathon is a game that wasn't initially on my radar at all, and has been an absolute surprise for me this year. It's a shame that the online discourse around it has been so sour, because this is the kind of well-designed and forward-thinking multiplayer experience that we should be hoping for from AAA developers, rather than yet another by-the-numbers Call of Duty title. All the daily posts about concurrent player counts seem to miss the fact that, while yes, those numbers can sometimes be an indicator of a game's success, publishers and studios are looking at daily active users and monthly active users to judge the health of their games, not the current number of players at whatever time someone chose to make a video about it. I have no idea if Marathon is going to have a long life ahead of it in today's industry. It certainly isn't hitting the player counts that I'm sure Bungie was hoping for, but aside from sharing my experience with the game and maybe convincing a few more people to try it, there's nothing else to really do besides enjoy the game while it's available.